From a one-armed admiral who defied orders to a tactical genius who revolutionized naval warfare, Horatio Nelson's story is more than battles and victories. Today we'll explore how this controversial hero fundamentally transformed military history and British identity. Let's rewind to a chilly January morning in 1771, when a scrawny 12-year-old Horatio Nelson first stepped onto a naval ship. Born in Norfolk to a modest clergyman's family, young Nelson wasn't exactly the picture of a future naval hero. He was small, often sick, and terribly seasick at first. But here's what's fascinating. Despite these challenges, he had this incredible determination that would later become his trademark. Nelson joined his uncle's ship as an ordinary seaman, learning the ropes, literally, alongside common sailors rather than starting as a privileged officer. This hands-on experience shaped his future leadership style. He understood what life was like for regular crew members because he'd lived it himself. Within just a year, he'd already joined an Arctic expedition searching for the Northwest Passage, where he famously chased a polar bear armed with just a musket and a cracked rifle butt. Nelson's climb up the naval ladder was anything but ordinary. By age 20, he'd already become a captain, making him one of the youngest in the Royal Navy's history. But it wasn't just his rapid promotions that turned heads, it was how he earned them. During peacetime, when many officers were lounging in ports, Nelson was obsessively studying naval tactics and leading anti-smuggling patrols in the Caribbean. He developed a reputation as someone who'd rather risk a court-martial for disobeying outdated orders than miss a chance to get the job done. This bold approach nearly got him in serious trouble several times, but it also caught the attention of his superiors. What really set him apart was his unique leadership style. He treated his crew like family, shared their hardships, and wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty alongside them. This earned him something rare in the rigid naval hierarchy: genuine loyalty from his men. Now, let's talk about the moment Nelson truly made his mark, the Battle of Cape St. Vincent in 1797. Picture this. The British fleet is facing a massive Spanish force with nearly twice their numbers. Nelson, commanding the HMS Captain, was supposed to stay in line with the rest of the fleet. That's just how naval battles worked back then. But Nelson saw an opportunity that others missed. In a move that would have gotten most officers court-martialed, he broke formation without orders, steering his ship directly into the path of the Spanish fleet. What happened next was pure Nelson magic. He and his crew captured 2 Spanish ships by leading daring boarding actions, leaping from ship to ship in hand-to-hand combat. This wasn't just about personal glory. His actions completely disrupted the Spanish battle plan and helped secure a crucial British victory. The battle showcased everything that made Nelson special: his tactical brilliance, his willingness to break rules when necessary, and his personal courage under fire. While Nelson's victories were spectacular, they came at a steep personal price. During the siege of Calvi, a French shot sprayed stone fragments into his face, permanently damaging his right eye. But it was at the Battle of Santa Cruz de Tenerife where he paid the heaviest price. A grape shot shattered his right arm, requiring amputation above the elbow while he was fully conscious. The surgeon's only anesthetic? A mixture of brandy and opium. Yet Nelson was back on deck within 30 minutes, shouting orders and refusing to let his injuries slow him down. These wounds left him in constant pain for the rest of his life, but they also added to his legend. He'd joke about his fin, his amputated arm, and wore his empty sleeve as a badge of honor. His resilience in the face of these injuries inspired his men and earned him even greater respect throughout the fleet. Now let's dive into the juiciest part of Nelson's story: his scandalous relationship with Emma Hamilton. Picture this. Nelson, already a national hero, meets the vivacious Emma at a dinner party in Naples. She's not just any aristocrat's wife. She's a former blacksmith's daughter who reinvented herself as a celebrated artist's model and performer. Their connection was instant and electric, but there was one tiny problem. They were both married. Their very public affair shocked British society, especially when Nelson essentially moved in with Emma and her elderly husband, Sir William Hamilton. What made this relationship truly remarkable wasn't just the scandal, it was how it transformed both of them. Emma became Nelson's confidant, managing his public image and nursing him through illness, while Nelson found in her the emotional support he'd always craved. Despite the social backlash and damage to his reputation, Nelson refused to hide their relationship even when it cost him invitations to royal events. Let's dive into how Nelson completely changed the way naval battles were fought. Before him, ships would line up in neat rows and exchange fire, pretty straightforward, but not very creative. Nelson had different ideas. He developed what we now call the Nelson touch, breaking the enemy line to create chaos and confusion. Think of it like a chess master who sacrifices pieces to win the game. He'd split his fleet into smaller groups, attacking from multiple angles to overwhelm the enemy. But here's the really clever part. Nelson made sure his captains understood his overall strategy so well that they could make their own decisions in the heat of battle. He'd hold regular dinner meetings where they'd practice scenarios using salt shakers as ships. This flexible approach was revolutionary. It turned rigid battle formations into dynamic, adaptable strategies that could respond to changing conditions. Picture this: August 1798, the Mediterranean Sea off the Egyptian coast. Napoleon's fleet thought they were safe, anchored in Aboukir Bay. Enter Nelson, who'd been chasing them for months. Instead of waiting for daylight like most commanders would, Nelson launched a daring night attack. His masterstroke: he noticed the French ships had enough space between them and the shore for his fleet to slip through. While the French ships could only use their seaward guns, Nelson's vessels could attack from both sides. The battle turned into a shooting gallery, with British ships methodically destroying the French fleet. By morning, Napoleon's Mediterranean dreams were literally sinking into the sea. This wasn't just a victory. It stranded Napoleon's army in Egypt and completely changed the course of European history. Let's explore what made Nelson's leadership style so special, what his men called the Nelson touch. Unlike the strict, intimidating captains of his day, Nelson created what he lovingly called his band of brothers. He'd regularly invite his officers to dinner, not just for a meal, but to discuss tactics and share ideas. This open communication style was revolutionary. Nelson made sure every captain understood his battle plan so well that they could make quick decisions without waiting for signals. He'd tell them, "No captain can do very wrong if he places his ship alongside that of the enemy." But it wasn't just about strategy. Nelson genuinely cared for his crew's well-being, often sharing their hardships and checking on sick sailors personally. He wrote personal letters of recommendation for deserving crew members and celebrated their successes as his own. This combination of trust, clear communication, and genuine care created an unprecedented level of loyalty in the British Navy. The morning of October 21st, 1805, dawned with destiny in the air. Nelson, standing on the deck of HMS Victory, knew this battle against the combined French and Spanish fleets would be different. He'd already written his famous prayer, and that morning he made a statement that would echo through history. England expects that every man will do his duty. The Battle of Trafalgar unfolded like a masterclass in naval warfare. Nelson split his fleet into two columns, cutting through the enemy line in what looked like a risky move but was actually brilliant strategy. As Victory engaged the enemy, Nelson remained on deck despite his officers' pleas, making him an easy target. At 1:15 p.m., a French sharpshooter's bullet found its mark. Yet even in his final hours, Nelson remained focused on the battle, repeatedly asking how many enemy ships had been captured. His last words weren't just about victory, they showed his deep care for those around him. "Kiss me, Hardy, and thank God I have done my duty." Nelson's influence extends far beyond his own time, fundamentally reshaping naval warfare and British culture. His tactical innovations, like breaking enemy lines and coordinated fleet movements, became standard naval doctrine well into the 20th century. But his real genius was in leadership. The Nelson touch wasn't just about battle tactics. It revolutionized how military commanders relate to their subordinates. He proved that inspiring loyalty through trust and clear communication works better than ruling through fear. Nelson's personal brand of patriotism, mixing duty with individual initiative, helped shape British national identity. Even today, phrases like "turning a blind eye" come from his exploits. The Royal Navy still celebrates Trafalgar Day, and Nelson's column in London stands as a testament to his lasting impact on British culture. His story reminds us that true leadership isn't just about winning battles, it's about inspiring others to exceed their own expectations. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Nelson's remarkable life. From humble beginnings to legendary status, his story continues to inspire. If you enjoyed learning about this naval hero, hit like, subscribe, and share to help others discover history's greatest tales.